everyone. Please take a seat. We're about to start. So my name is Kim Buisson. I'm the co-founder of La Maison de la Chapelle. It's an artist residency in the south of France, based in Provence, where we host different artists every year working at the cross-section of social impact and craftsmanship. I also work for an organization called Funding the Commons, and it's specifically focused on new models of governance and economic systems that help to fund projects in the public good space, including art and culture. So I'm honored today to moderate this session based on art and culture called Margins to Bridges. And we're here this afternoon to talk about art and cultural media that doesn't live in enough galleries or press releases, art that is born in struggle, in silence, in survival. Art that is not made to please or to soften, but to remember, to resist, to rebuild, and to exist. Too often, cultural work that emerges from exile or from censorship, disability, or social trauma is framed as a footnote to impact, or treated as something that is merely symbolic. But the stories that we're going to hear today remind us that culture is actually the infrastructure of memory. It carries worldviews, protects identities, and keeps lineages from breaking. It's not charity, it's not decorative, it's in fact essential, and that's why there's a place for it here at ChangeNOW today. Each speaker that we'll have on this stage brings that reality into focus, working with and alongside communities whose voices are too often erased. So to open today, our keynote speaker, Dr. Ahmad Sarmast, who is the founder of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music and of Zora, the first all-women orchestra in Afghan history, is going to present. So please join me to welcome Dr. Ahmad Sarmast to the stage.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and dear friends, good afternoon. Today, I'll be telling the story of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music, the story of the only music school in the entire Afghanistan in 21st century, the story of a school quite often called as the happiest place in Afghanistan. But today, that happiest place is silence. When I'm talking about the Afghanistan National Institute of Music or the story of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music, the story of ANIM is the story of one impossible that become real. It's the story of the girls who become conductors. Is the story of street-working children and orphans who become the soloist and ambassador culture of Afghanistan. It's the story of a shattered nation who found its voice and music once again. Through that story, I'll be telling you that how Afghanistan National Institute of Music began on the margins, but how the school is today, in spite of all the odds and challenges that it faces, it's building bridges. It's building bridges between the exiles and the belonging. It builds bridges between the memory and the possibilities. And it builds bridges between the past and a hopeful future. In the time of war and repression, it's always music that become, or arts that become a sacrifice and a victim. And quite often, arts and culture during the war or crisis are neglected. But what's happening in Afghanistan in 20th and 21st century? In my country, a systematic cultural genocide took place. You might remember the 1996, late 1990s, when Taliban destroyed thousands of artifacts in Afghanistan. When they destroyed the two largest Buddhas of my country. When they banned music entirely and forced into silence the people of Afghanistan. What is happening once again today? And today again, Afghanistan is a silenced nation. In post-Taliban 2001, I went to Afghanistan with one aim and with a strong belief in the power of music, in the transformative power of music to help Afghanistan to revive its musical traditions, to use and to utilize the soft power of music to transform the life of disadvantaged kids, orphans, street-working kids, and women. The main idea was to bring music back to the community and to fight for the music rights of the Afghan people, which have been entirely denied. It was not just the music rights of the people, but also through music we wanted to assist Afghan women and to empower the women of Afghanistan. Afghanistan National Institute of Music was the only music school, but only co-educational school of Afghanistan. Only co-education school and program of Afghanistan. Our main aim, as I noted, there was several. Reviving musical rights of the Afghan people. So we make sure that every Afghan child, regardless of their gender, ethnicity, and social circumstances, have access to music and quality music education. We aim to revive Afghan musical tradition. For the first time, Afghan music and musical tradition, which is an oral tradition, has been incorporated into curriculum of a music academic program. We've been also aiming to promoting musical diversity in Afghanistan, and so also to make sure that as a human rights, as a freedom of expression, Afghan people and Afghan youths have access to variety of music. So we've been also aiming to promoting musical and cultural diversity in Afghanistan. With this aim, we established the School of Music and also to transform the life of street-working children. So the music school will very soon, thanks to the implementation of its program, it became very well known locally and internationally. Everything that we've been doing in Afghanistan, it was in a very sharp contrast with the ideology of the Taliban and radicalism. We tried also to use music, not just to music art, but also to use music for promoting democratic values in Afghanistan. As part of our activity, we did not only revive Afghan musical tradition and Afghan musical culture, but we also established the two well-known orchestras, two musical ensemble and groups that each of them had a significantly important for Afghanistan. The women orchestra, the all-women orchestra of Afghanistan, Zora, that was the first of its kind in the region. It was entirely completed by female musician, but also conducted by a female conductor. So the Zora orchestra became a symbol of emancipation and freedom of Afghan women. The second orchestra that we established, it was the Afghan Youth Orchestra, which in itself became a symbol of new voices, the voice of new generation in Afghanistan. And these orchestras have been playing all over the world, promoting musical and cultural diversity between Afghanistan and the international community. But it was not only that we've been aiming to build bridges between Afghanistan and the international community, but it was significantly important to build bridges first within Afghanistan, to first reconcile the people of Afghanistan through music and education. In the years when Taliban was run by, in the years that Afghanistan was run by the Taliban, the people of Afghanistan were divided based on the ethnicities. And people began to hate each other. So through the music and making music, I wanted also to teach new young generation of Afghanistan to respect each other's differences and live in peace and harmony through music. And therefore, through playing in orchestra, they also learn how to respect each other's differences outside of the orchestra, how to get engaged in the dialogue in the same way that they're getting engaged in dialogue in an orchestra outside of the orchestra. And in a way that they create a piece of beauty together, they've been also learning to live in peace and harmony and move towards a nationhood, and to consider and to see that their strength is in their unity, not in their division, and that their beauty is in their diversity. We used music and various ensembles of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music to get Afghanistan out of isolation. Years of civil war, first when Afghanistan was invaded by the Soviet Union, the entire West pushed Afghanistan in a corner, and Afghanistan was cut from the rest of the world. Civil war and the Taliban further contributed to the isolation of Afghanistan. But believing in the power of music, that music has the ability to build bridges, we, with different ensemble and orchestras, including the two symbolic orchestras of Afghanistan that serve as symbol of hope, the Zohar Orchestra and the Afghan Youth Orchestra, we traveled. Within the region, we played in all regional countries, and when we moved to Pakistan and to India and to neighboring countries, our message was the message of brotherhood and peace. When we traveled further to Europe and to the United States and Australia, we tried to show the positive changes of Afghanistan that occurred after the Taliban since 2001. But everything that we've been doing in Afghanistan, co-education, promoting education, establishing a women orchestra, promoting musical diversity, Western culture, put us in a sharp conflict with the Taliban and made us a target of the Taliban. So in 2014, Taliban sent a suicide bomber in one of our concerts, who exploded himself within the audience. And several people were killed, and I myself was injured, and I spent 3 months in the hospital to recover. In 2015, another network has been arrested who's been aiming to attack our school. In 2017 and in 2020. So, in such a circumstances, while Afghanistan National Institute of Music was making a great impact in the community and on the international scene, the Taliban returned back to Afghanistan. What we could do in Afghanistan when the Taliban came. And you're probably today learning from the media that Afghanistan is silenced once again. And a systematic gender apartheid is taking place in Afghanistan against the Afghanistan women. And musicians of Afghanistan are denied their rights, and the people of Afghanistan are denied their rights. They cannot learn music, they cannot play music, they cannot listen to music, and musicians have been forced to go to beg or to sell food on the streets of Kabul to make a living. That's what's happening in Afghanistan today in the field of music and human rights. Afghanistan National Institute of Music, that was in the forefront of democratic changes in Afghanistan. Afghanistan National Institute of Music was that in the forefront of establishing a just and civil society in Afghanistan. We could not stay in Afghanistan knowing that we've been the target of the Taliban, and we will be the target of the Taliban. So we managed successfully with the rest, with the assistance of wide coalition of people of goodwill, which included musicians, human rights advocates, music institutions, musicians, politicians, and lawyers, and philanthropists. We managed to evacuate the entire school out of Afghanistan. 273 people have been out of Afghanistan, and we managed to establish the school back in Portugal and making Portugal as our new home. When I'm talking about the making impossible possible, that is the story of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music. We left Afghanistan, we reestablished in exile, and today, once again, we at the global stages. But most important is that our students are back continue their education, their music education. They have another opportunity to hope and to dream and to chase their dreams. But today, these young musicians are not only continuing their music education, or they are not just traveling around the world to play music, but today they are the voice of millions of Afghans forced into silence. Today, they're deeply involved in advocacy for stopping gender apartheid in Afghanistan, but also for restoration of the music rights of the Afghan people. As I noted, the story of the Afghanistan National Institute of Music, as you could see, it was established in a country where music was banned for many, many years. It survived all the challenges that existed in Afghanistan, but it's managed to emerge as a symbol of hope and resilience at the international arena and around the world. You could see boys and girls with no opportunities, orphan and street working children. They come out of the margins, and thanks to the music education, the transformative power of music, they become the cultural ambassadors of their country. And today, when I'm talking to you once again, they are the voice of the millions of the Afghan people. They're not only sharing the beauty of Afghan music, but they're also connecting their life in exile to what they belong, to Afghanistan. Once again, they build bridges between Afghanistan and the international community. And today, a nation forced into silence like Afghanistan, where its people cannot listen to the music. But these kids are making sure that the people of Afghanistan find their voices, and Afghanistan is able to sing once again. Today, when I'm standing here, I'm with a message on behalf of Afghan people and Afghan musicians to all of you. Let's make sure together that music never dies, that no other nation is forced into silence in the same way that Afghanistan is forced today. Everything is possible, but it depends on us. So let's raise the voice of silenced people of Afghanistan, and let's make sure that music is once again part of the Afghan community, and the people of Afghanistan are able to sing once again. Thank you. Thank you.